myself, but I'm like 20 seconds ahead of when I'm talking to you. So I don't remember what I said or what's going live or what's happening. So anyways, thank you so much for joining. Happy that you're here. Today we are making card number 12 in our 12 Days of Crafting Fun Advent card class. We are making a gatefold card today. So let's check out what we have in store for you. Forgot to zoom out. So here is our Always in My Heart card. This gatefold card features a beautiful sentiment, miss you, on the inside. And we are going to do the same technique that we did on yesterday's card, where we're going to be bringing in that Memories and More card and inking it up with our daubers to really get a little bit of pop on there. So for this card, from me, you will receive a scored gatefold mat in Misty Moonlight. You will receive a basic white inside mat, a Memories and More-ish mat. So we're actually cutting down the Memories and More cards, so this is a little smaller. And then also a blue strip. Again, these are both in Misty Moonlight. Then from the kit, you are going to be using this piece of DSP. You're also going to be using this embossed Memories and More. And then we are going to be using some ephemera and some laser cuts. So we've got this laser cut oval, as well as a couple laser leaves that are going to go on the inside. Then we have this ephemera gold banner, and then this banner that is also ephemera, just with some gold detailing. So we are going to start by moving some things out of the way. We'll come back to them in just a smidge. Then we are going to cut down our DSP. So this is going to be cut at 4 by 2.5, and we need 2 of them because we have 2 panels. So let's bring our cutter in. We'll cut it down to 4 inches. We'll turn it and cut to 2.5 and 2.5. We will need our trimmer back in just a little while when we're trimming down our Memories and More card, but for the time being, we can move that out of the way. Bring in our scrap paper, our Misty Moonlight, and our blue sponge dauber. I knew it couldn't go too far. Again, like 12th times the charm, we're going to be getting just a little bit of ink on our dauber. Really getting that off, and then lightly coming in with our dauber to dye our Memories and More card blue. A light hand is going to work out the best for you. I do understand that that is hard, and it is hard to have the patience to do that, but learn from my past mistakes that we do not want to be too aggressive with the color, because it is, especially with this being, a piece that comes in the kit, it's not like we can just make a new one or start over. We really, see, like there, that was pretty dark, but you really don't want to get it too dark because you can't undo that. Again, just like yesterday, once your dauber starts to lighten, it's not a bad idea to go in and really push down, but you got to wait until that dauber has most of the ink off of it. Okay, I think that does it. I have a very blotchy Memories and More card, so again, I might not be the best person at this, but for the most part, just getting some ink down. Then we can trim it down. So I'll bring this back in. So we are going to trim this down to 3 9/16 by 2 9/16. So I'm going to try to trim some of this dark edge off. So we've got 4 8 9/16 would bring us here. And then 2 9/16 would be 4 8 9/16 would bring us here. Now, if my mathematic powers work right, that is correct. Let's take a deep breath. Okay, so now I feel like I have all of my pieces prepared. Now I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So Always in My Heart is going on this banner, and then the Miss You is going on the mat. So we can bring our Misty Moonlight back in. Both of these sentiments are from the 12 Days of Crafting Fun Advent Calendar stamp set. So we only need this set for today. Grab our block. Always in My Heart. That can go pretty well centered in this tiny little guy. Okay, get that cleaned up. And then the Miss You is also centered. Remember, we are making a horizontal card here. That's just as much a reminder for you as it is for me. Let's be honest. That's off to the side a little bit, but I'm going to be okay with it. Of course, I could flip it over and try it again, but... All right, Miss You, Always in My Heart. So let's put our stamps back. Now it's time to assemble. Okay, at this point, I'm going to bring all of my pieces back into play. And we are going to start putting things together. So we didn't burnish our card base. So that's a great place to start. Your gatefold card came a little bit folded. So there's score lines on both. One of them was folded up for 2 reasons. So that everything fit, but then also to kind of have a place to catch all of your supplies. So go ahead and fold your other one. Now, I like to make mine match up, and then like I've got a little puckering here. Let's see if I can show that. I don't know if that's going to show. You can see I have a little puckering. So if I have them perfectly lined up, now I can bring the tension off of that puckering in my burnishing by pulling out, and now it should line up absolutely perfectly. Next, I can grab my DSP and get that on. I like to try to get my pieces with a consistent border. Doesn't always happen, but I can always try. Then I can glue my Memories and More card down. Okay, now we're going to pause for a hot second and slow our roll. At this point, I'm going to flip my strip and put some tear and tape on the back. And we are going to be using about 10 inches of our Misty Moonlight twine. So you can either cut it, but honestly, because I'm doing it right off the roll, I don't really need to cut it. I don't know what I was thinking. So align it to close to the bottom. Go ahead, run it, make a U-turn, and run it right back. This is designed with them laying just on top of each other. Now we can take some more tear and tape. And again, I'm just going to do some double duty here, and we'll just use that as our adhesive. So I'm just going to do that and add one little strip of tear and tape in the middle. Then this can go straight onto our Memories and More card, and that is going to be aligned more toward the bottom. Not super on the bottom, but more towards the bottom than perfectly centered. Okay, now we are going to bring the rest of our pieces in. And I'm going to stick the gold banner within my other banner. I'm going to use tear and tape because the gold has a bit of a glossy finish to it, and I don't necessarily want my liquid glue being too slimy is the wrong word. Slippery. I don't want that. So tear and tape is a nice firm adhesive that would not have that issue. That being said, as soon as the glue would dry, we would not have that issue, but I don't want to worry about the, 10, 20, 30 seconds of drying time that it kind of shimmies out of place. All right, you guys, I'm still milking my dimensionals. So this time I'm going to plan ahead and just trim them all. Okay, can I make it to the end of this card class with just these dimensionals? I think I can. Okay, so we are going to put this guy down. He's going to go relatively here-ish. And then we are going to put dimensionals behind this guy and tuck him under. Okay, then we are going to use dimensionals to adhere the Memories and More to the left flap. Remember, we only want it stuck to the left flap, which means we want to put dimensionals. Now, it depends on how you flip this. If I flip this down, we're still going to have them on the left. If I flip it over, we're going to now have it on the right. So very confusing, but I'm just going to flip it down. So I'm going to keep my dimensionals on the left side, if that makes any sense. Okay, hover. Make sure. I really didn't think I had it out too far, but I really, really did. Whoopsies. I think the top one was fine, but we don't want to risk it. Okay, take two. Hover it over center. We did better the second time. Okay. Then on the inside, we are just gluing a couple of little leaves on the bottom right-hand corner. Very much a fan of these laser cut elements. We've done a great job using them in some of the focal images, but the things that we had left, at the end, we kind of just went through and divvied them up on the insides. So pro tip, straight from Christine, only do the insides as you go in the places that are super obvious, like the things that seem like they match or are perfect for what you need. But honestly, we ended up using some of the latter of our cards. We used some of those laser elements as the focal points on the front. So you don't really want to necessarily, quote unquote, waste them on the insides of some of the first cards you make if it could be used later in some of your designs. So we basically had all of the cards designed and then went back to use the remainders on the inside, and that worked really, really well. Okay, so now we are just going to go ahead and use these beautiful gold elements as embellishments. And then this card, I probably will come back and use Stella. So I like a big one here on the side, but I also like a big one on the other side. So I need to go back and dig for another big. Remember yesterday when I had one too many bigs? Well, I think that's karma evening the playing field. Okay, so now where are we Stella-ing? You know, I really liked the Stella on the Memories and More card where it was just accentuating the embossed elements. So I think I'm going to do that again. So just trying to hit the embossed sections takes a little bit of patience, but I think the juice is worth the squeeze. The stems are honestly the hardest part. They're so skinny. All right, we're in the home stretch, guys. Sorry, I hope it doesn't feel like I'm shouting at you because I just realized how close in proximity I am to my microphone. Sorry about that. Okay, let's zoom in and see. Can I remember to zoom back out? All right, to zoom in, that's step one. Zoom out will be step number two. So here is the Always in My Heart. We've got card number 12. I will even bring this back in. So Chris and I cut paper differently, not in a bad or weird way. You know, I might have it rotated a little bit. I do like how this paper looks better on the original card. A little bit more of that pink showing through. Now, the unfortunate thing here is the pink is under right here. And yes, you do get a little bit more pink when you open it up, but it does look a little asymmetrical. Why? Why do I do this? I'm telling you guys, when you are not hovering right over the top, it's very hard. It's very hard to get centered. Well, anyways, good enough. Okay, so Always in My Heart, miss you. Such a beautiful card. Love it. Again, I just, I love how all of these gold elements are tying together the little ephemera pieces. So, so good. I hope you love this card and look forward to joining you for our last card, for our last day tomorrow. So, in the meantime, I appreciate you being here. I keep forgetting to say this. In the meantime, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all those good things, and sending sunshine, rainbows, and bright skies your way. I knew that was coming.